So, David, we're doing a quick take, Trump 100, because there's been quite a bit of news today. We have just sat through the most extraordinary news conference by President Trump, and then we've got details of the Iran deal, haven't we?
Yeah, the 14 points of the Memorandum of Understanding have now been released by a US official. That's interesting. Earlier today, a state-linked news agency in Iran was suggesting that the two sides had agreed not to release this detail. So that tells me that the administration is under pressure, really, to sell the deal it's done. But they're going to have a difficulty doing that on the basis of what we've just received.
Yeah, so this deal looks very similar, not identical, but very similar to the one that was leaked out to us yesterday, a deal which yesterday the Qataris had said looked very similar to what they understood to be the final deal. It's not entirely similar. There are some points where there are nuanced differences. We're going to go through a couple of the key points now because it's fascinating, isn't it?
The big takeaways for me are the fact that they are committing to end military operations, including in Lebanon. How do they do that when the Israelis are suggesting that that is going to continue their operation against Hezbollah?
So that's point one. We're not going to go through every single point. We will post it on the Sky website so you can see the details. But point one, part of it says that both sides in this MOU will declare the immediate and permanent termination of military operations on all fronts, including in Lebanon. Now, military operations, I think by most people's standards, includes someone else's military in your country. And so I think the Lebanese and certainly the Iranians will assume that what that means is that the Israeli military would withdraw from southern Lebanon. But the Israelis have said absolutely not. So there's a conflict there. We don't quite know how that will be resolved. Point two is interesting, isn't it? Because a very short point. It says that the US and Iran will refrain from interfering in each other's internal affairs.
Yeah, again, how do you do that if you're trying to ensure they don't have a nuclear weapon? Donald Trump has repeatedly stated that this deal will prevent them from developing a nuclear weapon. I don't read that anywhere. Instead, as we've predicted, that issue is kicked into the long grass for another 60 days, as indeed is the issue of the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, because although this document commits the US to lifting its naval blockade, the issue of Iran not operating a toll system, for example, in that shipping route is again only for 60 days.
Point five, that is, where it talks about the Strait of Hormuz. Iran will make arrangements using its best efforts for the safe passage of commercial vessels with no charge for 60 days only from the Persian Gulf to the Sea of Oman and vice versa. Then it goes on to say Iran will conduct dialogue with the Sultanate of Oman. That's the country opposite to the south of Iran, the other side of the Strait of Hormuz, to define the future administration and maritime services administrator Hormuz in discussion with other Persian Gulf states in line with the applicable international law, etc., etc. Look, we're not lawyers. We're not people who conduct these negotiations and write these things up. But it seems pretty clear to me that leaves open the possibility, certainly if this deal, if this MOI doesn't turn into a full-fledged deal, leaves open the possibility that the Strait of Hormuz could be something that Iran would be willing to charge tolls for.
The other thing that really strikes me about this document is that the United States is committed to facilitating, I think it's described as the reconstruction fund for Iran to the tune of a staggering $300 billion. Now, they're saying they're not going to contribute to that, but they are effectively partnering with the regime there, the people until very recently they were describing as tyrants and evil and people who